Welcome back, everybody. Today we start a new lecture on warehouse and inventory management, and the idea of today's lecture is to provide you with an overview on the activities that happen inside a warehouse. What operations take place inside the warehouse. We will not discuss the operations in detail today. This will happen in some of the future lectures, but today focus is more on providing an overview that you get the big picture. Though in many warehouses, an elementary task is happening, and that is breaking down large chunk of products and redistribute them into smaller quantities. And therefore, we need to know, first of all, different handling units of products. A typical and the most popular handling units of product inside a warehouse is a pallet. We can move a pallet around with a forklift very easily, and storing and retrieving a pallet is very easily, so most warehouses use pallets. This is often also the biggest storage unit. One pallet consists of several cases, and a case usually consists of several packs, and a pack might be broken down either in inner packs or just the actual pieces, which we call also sometimes eaches. Let me give you an example when we are looking at paper delivery. So in this example, we have copy papers, and on the left side you see one pallet full of copy papers. And placed on this pallets, we have several packs, several cases of copy paper. So this is one case of copy paper, and inside such a case we have additional pieces. Here it would be reasonable to consider such a 500 piece of paper pack as one each, one item that we track. For a warehouse, usually it will not make sense to consider one page of paper as a kind of storage unit. This makes no sense for most of the warehouses. So in this example, we have a pallet consisting of cases, one case consisting of 5 packs, and the pack is in that case also the each. What you need to be aware of, by breaking these large chunks of products down into smaller ones, this creates usually additional work in handling these smaller units of products. Though the more downstream we go in most warehouses, the closer we are to the final customer, the more work is created by handling these units. So if Geotech orders a pallet of copy papers, a truck comes and just puts down the pallet in front of Geotech's entry. But then more of the work is happening. Somebody needs to break down these cases and distribute these cases through all the departments, which is more labor intensive than just putting down the whole pallet. And this is a typical process for many warehouses. So what you should ask yourself, is this always the case that we break down larger chunks of products to smaller products? It is a typical case, but it is not always happening. Though, let's think of an e-commerce business and the return policy of an e-commerce business. In European countries, the return policy, when you order something online, is more flexible than it is here in Oman. So often it is not a big problem for the customers to return products that have been ordered online. So in Germany, for example, if a shop sells a product online, then for almost all the products, it is possible without any questions asked for the customer to return the products within 2 weeks. Yeah, the shop has to offer this. This is by law. And in that case, we are looking at return politics or recycling processes. And in such a case, a small unit of product arrives at the warehouse and has to be handled. And this creates more challenges for warehouses because it is much more expensive to handle these smaller units. But overall, the standard process is large chunks of products arrive at a warehouse and are broken down into smaller units. So what are the main processes? On the left side, in the middle of this picture, you see the storage of the product. The product is stored. On the left side, you see the inbound processes, so all the activities that happen from the arrival of the product at the warehouse until the product is in the storage position. On the right side, you see the outbound processes, all the activities that happen from getting a product out of its storage place until it leaves the warehouse. And for the inbound processes, we have the receiving of goods, though typically a truck arrives at a door at the warehouse and the truck is unloaded. We check some documents typically, and then there's the put away process. Though the goods are inside the warehouse, but now we need to decide how to store the products, where to store them, and how to bring the products from the arrival location, from the door, to the actual storage location. This would be the put away process. We store the product for a couple of days, weeks, or months, and at some point in the future, one of our customers is placing an order, and then this triggers a picking process. The customer order triggers the picking process. Though then we need to decide from which location we should pick the product and how to pick it. Once we assembled all the picked products, we need to pack them in order to make it ready, to prepare it, to make it ready, to send it out to the customer, and then it's shipped away. To make all these steps as smooth as possible, remember the fluid model, it is crucial that we ensure a continuous flow of goods. So, therefore, we need to remind ourselves every time we put the product on the ground, the flow is interrupted, stopped, and then later on it needs to be picked up again. Yeah? Though we have a lot of double handling, and we want to avoid this as far as possible. And the other thing is, we need to have always updated information on what's going on with our products. Has it arrived, the product? Is it stored? Who is taking care of storing the product? Is it picked already? Etc. etc. So typically there's a lot of scanning of barcodes going on when the product arrives via truck, when we put it away, when we store it to identify the storage location, when we pick it, and when we pack it. So most of the scanning is via typical barcode, because barcodes are very easy to produce. You can just use a regular printer and print the barcode labels. There are other options, like for example RFID, which are more expensive, but overall you always use some scanning technology to know the state of your warehouse.